And guys, this video is brought to you by 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀. Now live on the Binance Smart Chain, you can swap, stake and earn on 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀 for extremely lucrative rewards. Now 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀 is VenomDAO's latest initiative after establishing ViperSwap, Harmony's leading decentralized exchange. Head over to 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗀.exchange and start earning rewards today. It is a big day here for Harmony One, as a key milestone could be achieved and it could lead to a new price discovery next week. Guys, as we get into this technical analysis on Harmony One, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with this said, done out of the way, let's get into the technical analysis here on Harmony One. We're going to kick things off with the weekly chart like we usually do and really kind of highlight there are 5 impulse waves to the upside. In these 5 waves, there is one correction wave down here and one correction wave over here. Wave 2 was flat, which meant wave 4 was sharp. These two are always opposites of each other, guys. So if one is flat, the other one will be sharp. So down here we saw a flat wave 2, which meant we saw a sharp wave 4. With that being done, though, we are nice and into that 5th wave now, and we're taking out a key milestone. I'm going to get into that on the smaller time frames in a moment. But you can see from March of 2020 through to March of 2021, Harmony One has gained 18,905% in very juicy gains. So pretty good stuff was happening there. On this journey to the upside, we saw things really peaking out nicely here for Harmony One within the 3rd wave. This took us to about 22 cents as a high point here. And then we started to see things really come down during June, July, and start to pick up again in August. Now, those low points really took us down to about 4.7 cents, so it was quite a significant pullback here that took a lot of people by surprise. This was a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average or accumulate a bigger position with Harmony One. The good news about this 4th wave correction is it really did kind of churn our upward trend line that was previously a resistance trend line into a support trend line. This is something that's been confirmed a couple of times, so we're going to be tracking this trend to see if this actually continues even during a bit of a bear market. So I'm going to be watching that one to see exactly what happens. Obviously, there is an interesting support trend line down here as well, which again we'll track and see where that goes as well. Overall, during the bear market, there's going to be a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average some fantastic positions, so do stick around for that one. But for now, we are firmly going into this 5th wave with a key date being today, with some key things going on from a technical point of view that could lead to a very good week next week for Harmony. We can take a look at the stochastic on this weekly chart, and we can see that things are nice and overbought here, and this is an area that we can be overbought for several months, like we have done with wave 1 and wave 3. Okay, there was a little bit of a blip in the middle for wave 3 just here, but otherwise we actually had a good peak here and were overbought pretty much for quite some time, entering this area in January and not really truly leaving it until we got into March area. So again, up here for quite some time. Likewise with wave 1 from May 2020 all the way through to August 2020. Okay, so several months up there, not too bad. So we know just entering this area can seem daunting. You might think we're going straight away down, but on the weekly chart, we're going to be up here for a while. This is not like an hourly chart. So ultimately, we'll look to kind of come out of here towards the end of the year, where we start to see this thing eventually come back down. And ultimately, that'll be issuing in the bear market at that point. So interesting stuff are going on here. We are obviously targeting 79 cents. Which is about 292% from the current position. So again, some pretty good gains, although these are starting to dwindle down from what we had seen previously. They're still very, very good gains nonetheless, okay? So let's jump down into our daily view, and what we'll do is we'll just expand this up a little bit, and what we'll do is we'll talk about what's going on here with the most recent price action. Now, obviously, as I spoke about, we had that high point in wave 3 and the low point in wave 4. When we use that high and that low for a Fibonacci retracement tool, and this actually then plots out these key areas for us. The interesting areas that we really want to focus in on and have been talking about for quite some time now is the 618, the 702, the 786. This area here is an absolutely key area for Harmony, and getting this closed candle on a weekly is absolutely vital, because it's going to be the one that really takes us to those next levels. It's a big bull flag. So right now we are looking to get this close above the 786. This has to be, by the end of play today, 18.6 or higher. Okay, getting that weekly close there is going to be key. We can see there's a small pullback on the stochastic on the daily, but again, that's not too concerning. So from here, we are only really a couple of cents away from all-time high and then pushing up to the first targets. Okay, so the first target comes in at 33 cents, which is pretty cool. Going up to 51, 68 and then peaking out at 79 cent on the full 4.236 extension. Now we do put the fifth wave just up there at $1 because is the possibility that we actually just wick above this area, hit the $1, and that becomes our resistance point. So we're just mindful that we might overwick there. Otherwise, the full 4.236 is again a nice area to be kind of mindful of, and maybe that's an area that you want to work towards, depending on what your strategies are. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, and nor is Chris, so it's important that you do your own research, create your own strategies, all that kind of stuff. But I will talk through things that I'm seeing in the charts, and I'll talk through my strategies as well. So overall, everything on this daily chart is lining up quite nicely here for Harmony. Key moment to get above that 786, and as it will usher in new price discovery and new all-time highs. Okay, as at this point that it's important that we also acknowledge what's going on with the underlying data, the stuff that sits behind these candles and these wicks and these indicators. And for that, we are going to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to help us understand whether or not this is a cryptocurrency that is going to find some trouble soon, or it's going to find its feet and actually start running to the upside. So we're going to use advice.io's dashboard for this. It's free to sign up. Check it out. There's a link in the description. And in doing so, you're going to get access to the underlying data. Here we are using artificial intelligence and machine learning to inform us of that underlying data, and if it indicates any potential changes with things like liquidity, the fear and greed index, the Sharpe ratio, the profitability, right? And this actually then rolls it up into an overall rating. So here we can see that there has been no change for Harmony 1 in the last 24 hours. It is still an A3 cryptocurrency. I do think, though, going into Monday, this is likely to actually go up from an A3 to maybe an A2 rating, as I think the fear and greed index is going to get upgraded as well. So currently this is the A3 rated area, where basically we can see that it is greedy, but it's not like extremely greedy. So it's up there. But I think this is actually going to start rolling up into the next level. We can see the AMI-HAD ratio is A2. There are no problems with liquidity. The Sharpe ratio, no risk to reward or limited risk to reward in terms of the Sharpe ratio, well above the 50-day average. We have the profitability being best that it can be. I mean, 18,000% isn't anything to be kind of sniffed at. The moving averages up there at A2. So overall, there's nothing really indicating any problems here in terms of the Harmony 1 underlying data, and why, there's nothing really kind of been indicated to us that there's a problem of anything that's going to stop us from closing in the right area or potentially moving up to significant heights next week. Overall here, everything here is looking pretty good. There's a little bit of, movement maybe to happen here on the fear and greed index, where I'd anticipate that that's actually likely to move up a rating, which I think would then bump the overall rating up to an A2 in the next 24 hours or so. So everything's lining up quite nicely from the advice.io dashboard. Check it out, link in the description below, and have a look at Harmony and see what you think. Over here, or back to the charts, however, let's jump down to the hourly and expand this up, because we can talk about what's been going on most recently here for Harmony. Now, obviously, here is some interesting things that have been going on, right? We've basically had this push to the upside here initially. This is an interesting point because we basically got rejected from the 6702 area just here and pulling just below our 618, and then we moved all the way up, retesting this area here, trying to get this as a support zone, lost the support, moving back down, pushing back up, testing the 786 as a support line, and we're testing it here, and then we lost the support line, and it actually found our trend at this point here, although it's just a little bit below there, which is a little bit frustrating, and now we started to move back to the upside. Here you can see the stochastic RSI at this point just up here was overbought, coming down to the oversold area down here, tracking nicely, pushing back up to the overbought area at this point, but setting a lower high at that point there, pushing back down a little bit, retesting the trend line, and now pushing back to the overbought area, but also going higher than the previous high. So again, we're now trying to push up higher and higher here, as we obviously do have a bit of major resistance just coming on up this upper band here. So if I show you, go and grab my horizontal ray here, let me just grab that. We can see that this is the area of resistance, right? So this comes in at 21 cent exactly. Basically, you can see this is probably where a lot of sell orders are put in place. Basically, we're wicking up to it and we're selling. We're wicking up to it, we're selling. So the battle now becomes basically trying to push up here and turn this previous area into a support line and push up to all-time high. Again, I think this is where we need to get this closed candle above the key area of 18.6 cent. And if we're able to do that, then we should see a big bull move to the next level, taking out all-time highs and so forth. But we are concerned over 21 cent. This is an area where we're seeing orders being placed and suppression of Harmony here. So we are mindful over that. And with that being said, though, we can take a look at our trend line. The trend line has been holding up nicely, although it had just wicked below this area over here, which is a little bit frustrating. So it makes it a little bit weaker if we were to do that, but we can adjust it a little bit, and yeah, we can assume that there are going to be areas where we are just unfortunately moving out of scope. But overall, our trend line is roughly there, so it's still kind of holding. But trend lines are usually the weakest things to kind of rely on. So it's important that we also use our support and resistance lines. So it's important that we also acknowledge that if there is an upward trend line here forming, and we are failing to kind of get above the key area here of 21 cent, but staying above the 786. If we continue to test this trend line, get stuck in this triangular wedge, we could have a good explosion to the upside once everything lines up nicely, i.e. close up inside this triangular wedge here. If we can get that close up there, that's going to be a good catalyst for change going into next week. Overall, everything on Harmony 1 is lining up nicely. If we're ever in doubt, we do zoom out. It's good to pay attention to the bigger picture rather than focusing in on the smaller moves. Ultimately, everything is looking pretty tidy here for Harmony, and good price discovery is on the horizon, in my opinion. I will leave the video there. I'll keep it nice and brief. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.